Hello, I'm Matthew, and this is my YouTube channel showing you about my hobby, which is building model railways. Behind me is my OO9 station layout, which is name pending. Once you've watched this video, feel free to leave a comment underneath and let me know if you think of a place maybe that I can copy, or just any sort of name suggestions would be amazing. I thought I'd start by giving you some background about me, as everyone likes to know. I'm a full-time classical musician. I'm a singer. I also play bass and also play early music instruments as well. So I do that as my full-time job. So modelling only really happens when I am free from that. I tour quite a lot, so a couple of weeks I'm going to Hungary for a whole week. I won't do any modelling whilst I'm there because I'll be singing every day. When I was a kid, obviously that's when my love of model railways started, because it's when it always starts for most of us. I used to have a large 00 scale layout in my parents' attic, lots and lots of trains, and just running it all around in circles. Had a little village in the middle. Me and my brother used to play with that all the time. Then when I was a little bit older, I moved on to N-Gauge because a friend of mine was selling their N-Gauge layout, and I thought, well, I'll buy that and I'll have a go. I didn't have a lot of space in my bedroom at home, and decided that, yeah, I'll do an N-Gauge layout. And I had a really nice N-Gauge layout, which was L-shaped. It was quite large. My feet, when I laid in my bed at night, were underneath the board, so I could practically sit up and start playing with trains, which was great. That disappeared when I was about 16. I wanted a double bed in my room. I was growing up and I thought it wasn't cool anymore, so I got rid of it. So yeah, that's what happened there. And then I didn't really think about model railways for a long time, and it was only when I moved back in with my parents in lockdown 1 in 2020 that I started going through all the cupboards in my old bedroom and found all my model railway stuff and got it all out and started having a play with it. I then built a little end-to-end layout in my bedroom at home whilst I was in lockdown, which was, it was okay. It wasn't great. Then when I moved out to start actually doing my career, my brother inherited my layout from me, and he still has quite a lot of the rolling stock and stuff. And I think he still has the original board somewhere, but yeah. My parents recently moved house, and they downsized, retired, etc. So I said I'd take as much of my railway back as I could. So that's why I've got quite a lot of model railways in my small London flat now. It really sparked my interest again, and I thought, let's just do it, let's go for it. So despite having quite a few years of playing with trains, I feel like I'm quite new to the hobby. Over the past couple of years, I've sort of been keeping up with a few YouTubers who build model railways. So I quite often watch New Junction, Chadwick. Used to watch Everard Junction quite a lot when he posted regularly. George Williamson I now watch. Yeah, there's quite a few people that I watch. So I feel like I know how to do a lot of the things, but actually doing it still feels like it's the first time I'm doing it. So yeah, so I'm gonna get things wrong, but if you see something blaringly obviously wrong that I'm doing, then yeah, pop a comment down below and just tell me. I'd much rather know than just keep getting it wrong. I'm now going to cut to a video of me giving you a tour of this layout, my Peco 200 railway competition layout, I also have, I don't know if you can see it in the frame, but there's a baseboard on its end up there, which I bought ages ago for no money whatsoever on Facebook Marketplace, and I've never done anything with it. I need to do something with it at some point. So any ideas, you know, I'm happy to like rip up all the track and just use the track or just use the board or whatever. So yeah, cut to Matthew in 5 minutes once he's moved the camera and decided to show you all of this stuff. So now I've moved the camera and we're looking at my OO9 layout. What I'm thinking here is this is going to be a small sort of intermediate station on a narrow gauge preserve line. I'd like to think that it might have been the interchange for the slate mine that was nearby, and this area at the front with the sidings is where that slate would have maybe gone from being on the railway to being on the road or something else, or maybe a canal that's off scene, I don't know. Maybe this means that the station side of the layout is much newer, been adapted for it's always been there, but it's been adapted for passenger traffic in later life. We're now going to move sort of left on the layout, and I'll show you this end, which is currently just a lot of polystyrene blocks and a retaining wall that's wonky. So I want the train to exit the scene via a tunnel. And this retaining wall is going to act as the tunnel. I'm going to chop it up a bit, and I'm going to here we go. I'm going to take this bit out, and that's going to be the tunnel entrance. As you can see, I need to remove about half of this arch to make it fit, but that's okay. That's going to be a retaining wall with a tunnel, and the train's going to exit the layout via the tunnel. Above the tunnel entrance, I'd quite like it to look like sort of the town is above the tunnel entrance, and it sort of goes off scene. So maybe along this wall, I'm thinking I might get some like low relief backs of houses, with maybe like small gardens and an alleyway that's all above the, on top of the retaining wall. Or I might just have a plain road there. I'm kind of undecided. Then, to the right of that, you've got those two polystyrene blocks. They're going to be where the like raised up-ish car park's going to be for the station. So here, there's going to be a retaining wall. There's going to be a car park here, and then around about here is going to be the station building. Now obviously this level is higher than this level, platform level, so I'm going to have to make a scratch built 2-height railway station building, which is fine. I've never done that before, but it might happen, because it will have to obviously have the entrance from the car park and then the exit onto the platform level, 2 different levels. Along the front of the car park, I'm hoping there'll be some form of, there'll be like a family looking over the retaining wall down at the railway, watching the trains go by. And then, so just here, which is now in the centre of frame, there's one station platform that's complete, which is the island platform. So obviously I'm going to have the island platform, and then behind it, which has got the Festiniog carriage, that's going to be the other platform. That's probably the next thing I'm going to complete. And then the train will leave the scene behind the Bachmann slate building, to be shielded from view, because I don't want to see the train going out of the scene. I want the train to just sort of disappear through the scenery. So then in front of the slate building, there are some sidings, which I'd expect to just be those sort of slate drop-off sidings. I'm not really sure what they're for properly yet. I'll have to think about it more. If you have an idea, obviously, please leave it in a comment. But that's about it for this layout at the moment. The next big things I need to do is the second platform, retaining wall for the car park, and get the sort of road sort of in place vaguely. Soon I will have some boards arriving from Tim Horn. So this is a Tim Horn board. I'll have some more boards arriving from Tim Horn which will create the loop. I'll stick up a picture right now of my plan for this layout as is at the moment. But yeah, ideally I want it to be able to run as soon as those boards arrive. I want to be able to run trains on them. You know, I want to just be able to lay the track, run some trains, because I don't have anywhere to run trains at the moment, except for like I could run a little loop on my coffee table. Just not the best. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at with this layout. Next, I'm just going to show you quickly my idea for my Peco Rail 200 competition layout. So now we're at my Peco Rail 200 baseboard. As you can see, it's changed a bit since I last did a video. The last video was me building the board, and so obviously there was nothing on it. Now what I've done is I've drawn on it with a Sharpie. As you can see, there's a road that's going to go straight through the middle with a level crossing, and then there's going to be a bus stop here. This denotes like the church wall. So the church is on 2 times 1 centimeter foam pieces, which makes the top of the spire 14 centimeters, which is the upper height limit of the layout. I don't know whether you can see it on this camera, but I've had to take the cross off the main spire in order to do that. So I'll fill that in with polyfiller and paint it. Yeah, so we've got the church, the graveyard, then there's a bus stop. That's a little post box. This was me trying to draw like a track, and then that's the gate into this field. That's going to be a big farmer's field. This hill I think is slightly too steep, so I'm going to shave that down at some point. I only just finished hoovering up all the excess polystyrene bits though, so I might leave that and I might start on this side of the layout in order to put off doing that for a few weeks. But yeah, that's that one. Finally, I'm going to show you my other board, which I haven't done anything with in ages. So here's to that. Right, finally, I'm going to show you this other board. This is tucked away at the side of my layout because I don't know what to do with it yet. But here it is. So it's not ridiculously interesting. This piece of foam is just that. It's just an empty piece of foam. The guy had obviously decided that he was going to have a track all the way down. But on this side of the layout, it's much more interesting. So we've got 009 track here and a 009 point going into a 009 siding. That goes all the way down the board. And then it comes through here, and this is a 009 and 00 multi-gauge track. So there's a point here. Well, it's not really a point, is it? It's more of a divergence. And then there's a couple of straight bits. Don't know whether you can see it on the camera, but down here there's a bit where the 009 swaps sides, and then you definitely can't see that, so let's just bring it further up. So you can see it swaps sides sort of bang on in the center of this video, and then it goes off the other way. And then obviously at the bottom there's just, well, that's all there is, just 3 things. So this board is, I mean, it's all wired up, you know, it's all wired up with a bus wire. It's got a Cobalt digital. It's got everything you want. I just don't know what to do with it. I can't really, it's too wide here. to join on to my main OO9 layout, and yeah, I'd like it to work. So I mean, there's a large bit of me that's just very tempted to rip all these bits off and start again, but I don't want to damage the track. But yeah, I paid 40 quid for this. You know, one of these double gauge points is about 35 on its own, so yeah, great success. I just need to do something with it now. I have no idea what. Yeah, maybe at some point I'll expand this OO9 layout and have a standard gauge meets narrow gauge, you know, section somewhere. I don't really know how it's going to work, but that's a problem for me later down the line. Anyway, I've now got to try and put this back in that gap, which easier said than done. So yeah, the next bit is going to be the end bit, so enjoy that. So we're back here. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed getting to know a tiny little bit about me and about my model railway journey so far. Let me know what you think by hitting the like button down below, leaving a comment, subscribing maybe. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, especially if you got to this point, because I bet it's quite a long video because I'm not very good at concise talking. I've written down some notes, which is why I keep looking down here, but I've said many more words than what's written there. The next thing I've written down there actually is, as I've got 2 projects at the moment, I'd expect to see more from the Peco Rail 200 competition, as that has a more firm deadline than my actual layout. That doesn't have a deadline at all. I wish it did. If you want to give me a deadline by inviting me to come and do it at an exhibition, then that'd be amazing. Because that'd actually force me to do it. And so I'd love that. Hopefully doing the competition will like spur me on to do more on this layout, because I'll hopefully learn some new techniques on the 200 layout. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully I'll see you here soon, because I'm not going to set myself a firm schedule for putting out videos, because my personal schedule, because of being a musician, just changes all the time, and I don't know when I'm going to have a full free day, you know. So yeah, so that's why I'm not setting myself a schedule. In my head, it will probably be once a week, but I don't want to firm it up because I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, click like, click subscribe, leave a comment if you feel so inclined. Also in the description there's going to be my Instagram and my TikTok account, where I'll post smaller videos. My TikTok account's like anything train related. I posted a video of a Class 66 ballast train today, so that's less model railways, just railways. But yeah, follow both of them. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one. I will see you next time.